Hi family, this is Mo with Moya Body Care and Colon Hydrotherapy, and I am your favorite colon hydrotherapist that practices the art of internal detoxification through the use of colon hydrotherapy, herbs, and natural living. And this video is more of a documentary of exploring enemas on a deeper level for women, right? So I'm going to share with you what I did about, I think it was probably 4 days before my menstrual cycle started. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information about my health and wellness so that you can understand where I'm coming from and why I do what I do, okay? So first of all, I'm 43 years old. I have no ailments. I have no diagnosable diseases. The only thing that kind of gets out of pocket with me is eczema. And that only happens when I fall off of my self-care routine and I start putting people before me. I tend to get a little stressed, and what happens is when I get stressed, eczema pops up on this arm from here to about here, and it's about that wide all the way down. And it doesn't pop up in sections, like the whole arm gets a little elevated, it turns red, I want to scratch it, I want to pour scalding hot water on it. If you've ever had eczema, you know what I'm talking about, right? But luckily, I'm a colon therapist and I am a huge believer in living naturally. So the level of outbreaks that I've had since I've been a colon therapist has been, I can count on probably 3 fingers, literally. Not even on my whole hand, but like 3 fingers. And then when it starts to come up, I can feel it. I know what to do to push it back down and to not allow it to take over my whole body. Because there was one moment where it did take over my whole body and I couldn't work for like almost a month. Once that happened and I experienced that one time, I'm a Taurus. All you got to do is show me or tell me or I'll hear it one time. I got it. You ain't got to keep repeating it to me. Once I realized the pain, how much money I lost, talk about that. I couldn't do anything for my son. Like, it was depressing. I was like, oh, hell no. This is not how I get down. Now, other people, how you do it, that's on you. But how I get down? Oh, no, 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 no. So from that point on, I have been extremely diligent with saying no often. I drink a boatload of water. I take a boatload of herbs. That has to be a whole nother video about what I do for my body. I think I already did one of those videos, but I'll check, and if not, I'll do another video about what I do for my self-care. And I have no health issues, literally, outside of eczema here and there, few and far in between. Let me see what else. I have regular menstrual cycles. My menstrual cycles come like clockwork every month. I don't have any fibroid cyst or tumors. I've never had fibroid cyst and tumors. I've only been pregnant once. No miscarriages. No terminated pregnancies. I've only been pregnant once and gave birth once. And as you know, my son is 14 now, and it was a natural delivery. No drugs, no epidural. He slipped right out, like no issues with my pregnancy. So basically what I'm saying is, I don't have any health issues. I don't have any underlying conditions outside of I am a fanatic for health and wellness. Outside of that, okay? So I'm always exploring and doing things on my body where I probably should slow down with doing that. But anywho, I said to myself, my menstrual cycle is coming. My last menstrual cycle that I had in December, there was a little bit more clotting present than normal. And I think it was because I had some food that I normally don't eat 2 times before my menstrual cycle. And I think that's what was coming down. And I don't eat a lot of rice. I don't eat a lot of carbs. That's just not something that I do. And I had a lot of rice and carbs last month. So this month I said, I'm going to do something different. And I'm going to give myself 7 enemas straight before my menstrual cycle starts, right? So my menstrual cycle started on the 1st of this month, which is January. And actually, I miscalculated because I thought my cycle was going to start a couple of days later. I had another date in my head, but anywho. What ended up happening is that I was able to give myself 5 enemas before my menstrual cycle started. So day 1, or let me back up, what I used for my enema bag, I have a 1 quart enema bag. It's a red traditional hot water bag slash enema bag. And I added 32 ounces of spring water, warm. Actually, it was a little bit closer to hot, but not technically hot. A little bit more than warm, I guess you can say. I don't know what the temperature is between hot and warm. But 32 ounces of water, spring water. And then I had 2 pinches of pink Himalayan salt. And then I added, what did I add? I added 3 ounces actually of apple cider vinegar. And that's what I did for 5 days straight. So I like to do my enemas in the morning because as I'm moving around throughout the day, more stuff is dislodged and it just comes out, and I really appreciate that. So the first day was fine. I had some good amount of waste come out like it normally does. No issues, no problems. Everything was good. However, emotionally, I felt like I was holding on to something emotionally, and I didn't know what it was. After, I want to say about 3 hours, it hit me what I was holding on to emotionally. I dealt with it, and then right after I dealt with that emotional holding, I had a bowel movement, and it was phenomenal. So I was like, okay, cool. This is awesome. I love it. And just a FYI, when we talk about health and wellness, you're covering the physical, which is your physical body, your physical, your emotional, and your spiritual. That's just how the body is connected, right? So that was day 1. Day 2, I do the enema, and there was a little struggle with me, like release, or not even releasing. There was a little bit of struggle in me receiving the enema. And I didn't know why. Like the water was struggling to move through my body. And I was like, okay, well, I know what this is. I'm resisting. Why am I resisting? And so I started going through my mental Playdex, and I was like, okay, there's some stuff over here. There's some financial stuff I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about my business. So I stopped the enema. I did a 15-minute meditation to open my heart, to open my eyes, to open my ears to wellness. I went back to my restroom or my bathroom and did the enema, and it was flawless. Everything was smooth. Everything was easy. I did I think I did about 4 different fills with that enema, and it just completely, everything came out. I was good. That night, I slept like a baby. Literally, once my head hit the pillow, that was out. I was out, and I think I went to sleep around like 9:30 that day, because I went to bed really early that night. Normally, I go to bed around midnight. I know that's not good, but I'm constantly working, y'all. Constantly working. And so the 3rd day I did my enema, my body was ready for it. Like literally, I couldn't get out the bed quick enough to get my water warm, and I got my solution together, and you know, I had a little bit of music playing. I lit a candle. It was really, really nice the 3rd day, right? So that was fabulous. A good release. Now the 4th day, this is where things get a little woo-woo. What's going on here? So the 4th day, I do my enema as I normally do. Himalayan pink salt, apple cider vinegar, 32 ounces of water, breathing, doing my breathing techniques. I stretch up, I shift around. I'm doing it, right? Enema comes out, have a really, really good release. I do that 3 or 4 times. Nothing is the problem. Everything's good. I go on about my day, and I think that day we went out to the store or something like that, and I came to my office, cleaned a little bit. So I'm moving around a lot. I'm doing a lot of movement, right? Now, mind you, I'm using apple cider vinegar, pink Himalayan salt, spring water. I go back home. I'm in my bedroom. And no, actually, this wasn't day 4. This was day 5 when my menstrual cycle started. That's what it was. So day 4, everything was good and easy. Day 5 is when my menstrual cycle started, which was the 1st of this month. So I had a pad on. One thing that I want to recognize or share with you that I recognize with my body is this. When my menstrual cycle is getting ready to come on, my breasts get super engorged, like I'm pregnant. Like it's the weirdest thing. I get super engorged. I really can't fit my bras. My hips get a little wider. My thighs are a little tender, as if I've been like, you know, not necessarily speed walking, but just kind of walking up some steps a couple of times here and there in the day. So I'm just a little tender on top, a little tender on the bottom, but nothing that I need aspirin for or anything like that. When my menstrual cycle started this time with me doing the enemas, none of that happened. No pimples. Actually, that's not true. I had like one pimple right there. Only one. No aches and pains. My breast did not get engorged. My hips did, well, my hips kind of still opened up a little bit, but not like it normally did. I didn't even know my menstrual cycle was on until I went to the restroom that morning, actually. And normally I can feel some things happening and that will signal me to get up and go to the restroom. That didn't happen. That did not happen. So ladies, I'm here to share with you, if you have any issues with your feminine space, let's have a conversation. You need to be doing enemas on a daily basis until any situation with your womb space is corrected. We're going to talk about this more in detail, right? But I want to get back to what happened to me on day 5. So I have a pad on and I just came back home. I'm reading my receipt and I'm going over because I check everything, right? So I'm looking at my receipt and I felt like, oh, like I have to go use the restroom. I have to go tinkle. And then I was like, no, I don't have to go tinkle. I have to actually sit down and have like a little boo-boo session. Okay, cool. And then I was like, no, I don't need to have a boo-boo session. What the hell is going on? And then all of a sudden, like all of my faculties kind of like did like a scramble. And then I know this is a lot to receive. Just hear me out. I was completely fucking grossed out. And I'm a colon therapist, okay? I've seen some shit happen, literally. I've seen some shit go down. I can't believe I'm sharing this with you. I'm standing there and I have a pad on, right? So I'm fully dressed. I'm looking at my receipt and my body does like this 1-2 like scramble. And it felt like, I can't even describe what it felt like, but it just fell out of my ass, literally. And then because it came out so hard, it hit my pad and then it popped me on my butt. I know, y'all. Like, literally, if you were a fly on the wall, you would have been like, Mo, what the fuck is that going on? What is happening? So I was like, oh my God, I thought I had, messed my underwear up. So I'm like trying to scoot and like run to my restroom. I cannot believe I'm sharing this with you. So I go to my restroom and I bend over to pull my pants down and something else falls out of my ass. And I'm like, what is this? And I look down on the pad. Yo, I kid you not. A huge blob of mucus. It literally looked like a baby jellyfish. It was crystal clear, no odor, and it was just jelly, just mucus, just sitting there. And I'm sitting there looking like, what the fuck is this? And it was just sitting, and it was, when I tell you the amount of mucus that came out of my butt, now mind you, I'm a colon therapist. I cleanse every day, all the time. I am constantly taking herbs. I give myself a colonic every Sunday. I'm always in my infrared sauna. I'm always getting massages. I'm always sitting in the bathtub up to 5 pounds of salt. And then when I looked at what fell on the floor, it literally looked like a baby jellyfish. So as I'm sitting there in meditation, analyzing this is the stuff that makes you sick, right? This is the stuff that cannot get out of your body. It's not going to be blown out through your nose, through your mouth, through your ear, or through a regular bowel movement. You have to physically go in there and mess some stuff up. Now, my timer is getting ready to go out. I'm going to go ahead and end this conversation. I'm going to come back and do a part 2. Moya Body Care, MOYA bodycare.com. This is part 1. Stay tuned for part 2.